In the late 80s, America thought it could silence rap. But one man from Miami said, no way. His name? Luther Campbell. You may know him as Uncle Luke. But what you might not know is, he took hip-hop all the way to the United States Supreme Court. In 1989, Luther and his group, 2 Live Crew, released an album called As Nasty as They Wanna Be. It was raw, sexual, unapologetic. So controversial that a judge in Florida declared it legally obscene. Stores were banned from selling it. DJs faced arrest for playing it. And Luke? He was put on trial for the music he made. But Uncle Luke didn't back down. He fought back, not just for himself, but for every artist with something to say. He argued that freedom of speech includes music, even lyrics you might not like. And in 1992, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed. The ruling? 2 Live Crew's parody of Pretty Woman was protected by the First Amendment. Luke had just won one of the most important free speech cases in music history. But Luke didn't stop there. He helped put Miami on the hip-hop map. He mentored artists like Pitbull, Rick Ross, and even DJ Khaled. He spoke up for black communities, for education, and for voting rights. Most people remember the bass, the parties, the controversy. But behind the explicit lyrics was a man who fought for a principle: that art shouldn't be punished, that black voices shouldn't be silenced, that the First Amendment belongs to all Americans. Behind the stage name, Uncle Luke was a young man from Liberty City, Miami. A neighborhood filled with energy, but also inequality. A place where black youth were told to stay quiet. Where their music was called noise. Their anger was labeled threatening. And their joy? Obscene. But Luke heard something different. He heard truth in the beat. Freedom in the bass. And he realized, if no one was going to speak for the next generation, he would. People mocked him, called him vulgar. They said, what he does isn't real art. But the irony? While others wrote laws, Luke rewrote culture. He made sure black artists didn't just survive. They thrived. And he did it while being censored, sued, arrested, even banned from his own shows. He turned courtrooms into stages, microphones into weapons, and music into a revolution. And today, every rapper who dares to say what they feel, every comedian who pushes boundaries, every podcaster who speaks without fear, they all owe something to Uncle Luke. Not because he was perfect, but because he was fearless. When others saw a rapper, the courts saw a criminal. But history? History sees a defender of the First Amendment. Luke Campbell didn't just change the game. He changed the rules. From Miami clubs to the highest court in the land, his voice echoed louder than hate, louder than judgment, and even louder than censorship. Because freedom has a bass line, and Uncle Luke made sure we all heard it. Luther Campbell changed the law, but more than that, he made America face a question we still ask today. Who gets to speak, and who decides what we're allowed to hear? I was fighting not just for rap. I was fighting for the right to be heard. Luther Campbell. Thanks to Uncle Luke, the answer is clearer. We all have a voice, and no one gets to turn the volume down.